Welcome. Today we're going to talk about the experiences of the first year teacher. The first year of teaching is the hardest for most teachers. Some teachers manage to thrive while others merely survive, and many end up just walking away from the profession altogether. I want you to reflect for 3 minutes on your first year of teaching. I just want you to write down any emotion, any memory you have of what it felt like in that first year that you taught. Once you've had time, those 3 minutes, to write down all of your emotions and your memories of your first year of teaching, I want you to get with a shoulder partner, and I want y'all to share those emotions that you felt. Partner A is going to be whomever woke up the earliest this morning. You're going to share one emotion. And then partner B, you're going to share the emotion that you had. And just go back and forth sharing your emotions from your list. If your emotions are the same on your list, place a check mark next to them. So for example, if I am partner A, I would go ahead and share that I felt very anxious in my first year of teaching. And maybe my partner B would then share that they felt scared. And then I would go again and say I felt excited. Maybe they would go and say they felt a little isolated. Continue this process till everyone has an opportunity to share everything that they have on their list. So let's take a second as a whole group and share what we came up with. Or if you're doing this just with a partner, just discuss a little further what were the top couple of emotions that you all had that were similar. If you are in a whole group, each partnership, you're going to be prepared to share one emotion that you had in common with the rest of the group. Now I want you to pause and think about these questions before you share out. What are the top 3 emotions we are noticing that we remember having as a first year teacher? Why do you think we felt that way? And is there anything the school could have done to keep us from feeling some of these negative emotions? As we move forward in this presentation, I just want us to use those 3 guiding questions to kind of guide us throughout what we're going to talk about, and just to keep in the back of our mind some things that maybe we can do for the first year teacher. And so those questions again are, what are the top 3 emotions that we're noticing that we remember having as a first year teacher? I know for myself, I would definitely say feeling very anxious, feeling a little isolated. I was in a new state. I didn't know anyone I was teaching with, and I didn't really feel like I had a group of people or even one person that I could really depend on and that was really there to support me. And then also maybe just feeling a little lost because I didn't know what was going on. For new school, I didn't know the procedures. So those would be my first top 3 emotions that I felt as a first year teacher. I want us to think about, why do we feel this way? What causes us to feel this way? Many of us come from our internship year where we have tons of support and we have spent time in the classroom and we've taught our own classes and we have our professors there and we have our other colleagues and our cohort or whatever, and we feel like we have a sounding board and a place to go and support for our teaching career. But then in our first year, you're kind of just left there to yourself. So is that what's causing all these emotions? And then the most important thing I want us to think about as we leave this presentation, is there anything the school could have done or can do to keep us from feeling some of these negative emotions? What is already in place at our school? What can we create? What can we do as an individual teacher to support those first year teachers? Because as we look at the first year teacher realities, most come from a student teaching internship. So they have experience with teaching. They're not just thrown into this without any background. Most of this time is spent observing the mentor teacher and not actually teaching on their own without their mentor's presence in the classroom. I know from my experience, when I've had an intern, I am very hesitant to ever leave them in the classroom by themselves, because at the end of the day, that's my class, that's my responsibility. And so my constant presence is not really giving my intern an actual experience on their own of teaching and being in charge of that classroom and being in charge of those students, because my quote unquote my students I'm still there. They know I'm there. They know my expectations. So how true is this internship year for these student teachers as they move forward to the first year of teaching? Because of this, it kind of creates that unrealistic view of what it will be like for the first year teacher. I know doing an internship and then having my own classroom, those were two different realities. They were not the same at all. It was an eye-opener, certainly, for my first year of teaching. A few more realities for the first year teacher is that they have strong feelings of isolation. That's common. They feel like they're doing this on their own. Most first year teachers are left to sink or swim on their own and are often given the hardest teaching loads and the worst prepared students. Unfortunately, it just kind of works out that way. And studies show that nearly half of all new teachers leave the profession within the first 5 years due to inadequate support. I know with my first year of teaching, I was ready to leave every single day. I thought, I can't do this. It was terrible. There were a lot of tears, and it was a learning process. And so that whole sink or swim feeling is there, and that whole isolation feeling is there as a first year teacher. So as a school, if these are our realities, what as a school can we do to support the first year teacher? Do they have to have that feeling of isolation? Is there something we can do to keep them from experiencing the feeling of sinking or swimming? Clearly, retaining new teachers is a problem. At a lot of schools, there's a high turnover when it comes to first year teachers, or even teachers within the first, even 3 years in my experience, I've seen a lot of teachers leave. So as a school, is there more that we can do to ensure that we keep these new teachers and that they feel supported and they don't feel isolated and they feel that they are having a successful first year of teaching? So in researching some things that can be done at the school level for these first year teachers, a lot of times you come across the idea of the mentoring program, where you have a mentor teacher is selected to guide the professional development of the first year teacher. This mentor teacher needs to teach the same level and same field as the first year teacher, and that this will help the first year teacher avoid failure and increase their likelihood for success. So I know maybe a lot of schools don't have already a set up program for mentoring, but is that not maybe something that you could think about starting and implementing in your school? Pairing up a first year teacher with a veteran teacher that is very knowledgeable about their subject and their grade level in the school to really help that first year teacher, to support them, to be a sounding board for them, be a safe place for them to go where they feel like they have the support they need, so that they don't feel like they're just surviving their first year, but they're really still learning in that first year and feeling successful in their first year. So just furthering the idea of the mentoring program, the mentor teacher serves the role as a coach for the entire first year of the first year teacher. Weekly meetings are held to assist the first year teacher with any concerns or questions about upcoming lessons. And for me, I would even encourage more than just weekly meetings, but twice a week, or at least as a mentor teacher, you check in with that teacher every day, especially at the beginning of the school year. The mentor is responsible for providing a supporting context for the first year teacher to make the transition and transformation from dependence to self-reliance and competence and move toward a peer relationship with the mentor. So obviously you don't want to be the mentor teacher for the entire school year and the first year teacher is depending on you for everything all the way to the last day of school. The goal is that as the first year teacher grows and develops and progresses throughout the school year, that they then become really the one that can stand on their own. Almost they could be ready to mentor a first year teacher. That they gain that confidence and they gain those skills and they gain that professional development and everything that they need, that they feel very successful, and they don't come to you for advice, but more come to you to share their ideas, and maybe they're sharing ideas that you can take away and you can use in your own classroom. I know in a TAP school that this already kind of happens because you have your mentors and you have your master teachers. And you as a mentor or a master teacher, you have a cluster of teachers that you coach throughout the year. Reflecting back on my role as a mentor teacher and thinking about what can be done more for the first year teachers, I thought of, would it possibly be more beneficial if a mentor and master teacher were assigned to all new teachers to the building? This way you could tailor your support to the first year teacher, since their needs are different than someone who has been teaching for 10 years. Another way we as a school that can really help the first year teacher is through the development of professional learning communities. And I know these are really in place in a lot of schools, but I just encourage you that if you don't have professional learning communities in your school, that maybe this is something you really look at, because it does provide that support for the first year teacher. They feel supported when they have the built-in time to collaborate, plan, and reflect as they learn. And these PLCs provide that opportunity. Through this creation of a sense of community, the first year teachers become more successful. This is a time first year teachers can gain peer support, share professional knowledge, collaborate regarding pressing issues, and address curriculum and pedagogy concerns or needs. A final way that I found that we could really support those first year teachers at the school level is through professional development. Providing that professional development for these first year teachers that are tailored to their needs. And not as a veteran teacher deciding, okay, the first year teachers need this, this, and this, and that's what the professional development is about. But to find out, to question your first year teachers, to ask them, what are the areas that you feel like you struggle the most in? I know for an intern that I've had that I've spoken to in her first year of teaching, that classroom management is really hard for the first year teacher. They have gone from their internship year where a veteran teacher has established the classroom management, has good classroom management typically, and that's already been developed. And it's kind of hard for the first year teacher to take what that mentor teacher did in the internship and transfer it to their classroom, because it's innately done. It's developed over years. And it's not like the first year teacher can just do exactly what their mentor teacher did and find success. And so maybe that's an area that as a school you can provide professional development for these first year teachers that are tailored to classroom management. Or maybe it's that they struggle even with just organization and keeping up with what they have to teach and when they have to teach it and how they're going to teach it, and just laying all of that out. But if you can take your first year teachers in your school, ask them, what do they need? What will help them feel supported? What will help them feel like they can be more successful in their first year of teaching? And you can provide that professional development to them. So in closing, I just want us to think about that regardless of a teacher-student teaching experience, the first year of teaching is a challenge. Many first-year teachers merely survive, and they hear over and over again, yeah, I had to survive too, it's just your first year of teaching. I can remember hearing that as a first-year teacher and thinking, what, is that it? Like, really, that's how it's going to be? And now as a veteran teacher thinking, why does it have to be that way? Why do the first-year teachers have to feel like they have to survive, and it's kind of like a rite of passage that they have to get through to become a real teacher or a veteran teacher? Is there not more that we can do so that the first year of teaching is not about surviving, but about feeling successful and feeling supported and growing in that first year of teaching? So that's the question that I want y'all to reflect on, is there not more that we can do for the first year teacher? So in closing and with a reflection, I want you to write down what you feel you or your school can do to further support the first year teacher. Kind of brainstorm ideas that you have or that this has sparked for you. Or maybe there is a mentoring program at your school and you're not involved in it, and you can become involved in it because you do have time and support and knowledge to help that first year teacher. Or maybe there's no program developed at all, and that's something you as a school can start looking at developing for the first year teacher in order for that first year teacher to feel successful.